Recording. So thank you very much, Janet, for coming on Coffee with Stuart. I hope you have your coffee handy.
There it is.
Thank you very much for coming on Coffee with Stuart and giving us some information about what it is you do, who you are, where are you? I mean, where are you calling from today?
Stuart, I'm in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Fantastic. And what's your weather like?
Well, we're heading into summer, and actually it's been extremely hot. And we were expecting a very hot day today, but it's a little bit overcast, which is really, really welcome. Wonderful.
Well, you're lucky you're heading into summer. We're heading into winter, and it's pretty autumnal, as they say today. So it's wet and windy. But I mean, this interview is just a short interview, just really to get to know who you are, what you do, how you can help us. So if I start with your background.
Yes. So I am the Managing Director, although really that title sounds terribly formal, of Engagement Dynamics. I'm starting to call myself the Master Dreamer.
That's fantastic.
Or the Magic Dispenser or something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm also busy at the moment completing an MSc in the Management of Technology and Innovation. And I'm really enjoying this business degree because it taps right into the work that I'm doing. I'm investigating wicked problems and how we engage people in dealing with those. In terms of my background, Stuart, you were asking, I actually started out in life as a nurse. I did the basic nursing degree, and then I specialized in psychiatric nursing. And I always say to people, you know, when you study nursing, you are studying a complex dynamic system, which is what the human body is. And that really has laid the groundwork for all the work that I actually do to this day. And then, of course, I specialized in psych nursing, which means a very, very strong psychology background. Learned to understand people, what makes them tick, and how we can help them to tick more effectively. And then from there, I moved into the business environment. So I kind of converged all three of these major interests into what I do today, which is organizational development.
You've kept busy, I must admit. You're not resting on your laurels. And so now that you've got this fantastic background, and what is it you're doing with it, then what are you doing with it, and how can you help other people?
Super. So yeah, as I say, about 13 years ago, armed with my nursing degree and a very, very big dollop of managerial leadership experience, and probably an even bigger dollop of wisdom, hopefully, gained from this large library of leadership books. I moved into consulting in 2007, and I really, at this time, I don't think I actually had a clue. I thought I knew a lot, but I didn't. And so Engagement Dynamics, which is the name of my business, we provide, first of all, customized, project-based and integrated consulting services, leadership coaching, training programs, and we develop organizational development interventions. And we do this primarily to support the development of astute leaders who are really reeling from the massive disruptions that are happening in our world at the moment.
So, I mean, just as an example, a lot of people talk about your ICA, your ideal client avatar, which is a technical term for the people you're looking to serve. What's the kind of people that you serve? Is it individuals or groups or teams?
So, Stuart, I'm very fortunate to work with people at all levels of the system. I work a lot with individuals, with especially high capacity leaders. I do quite a bit of executive coaching with those people. I also work with teams, and I love teamwork. I use an amazing tool called the Gallup Strengths Finder to help people to understand one another. And so a lot of work with teams, and then increasingly working at an organizational level where we can look at the whole system and try to help leaders to make their systems much more effective. And I think obviously in this current context, with so much having changed, there's a crying need for that.
And do you think that sometimes individuals, leaders and teams, they are sometimes too close to the elephant, maybe? And when you come in, you're looking at things from a completely different raw perspective. And whereas they are sometimes too close to the wood, they can't see the trees for the wood, so to speak.
Absolutely. And Stuart,
you sort of pick things apart and then start to re-evaluate them.
Yes. So you reminded me of that beautiful metaphor that is used so often of the blind men and the elephant. And the 6 men who each had, they were blind, but they each had a different part of the elephant, and they were describing their part of the elephant. And of course, their perspectives were all completely different. The guy describing the trunk wasn't saying the same things as the guy who was describing the tail. And you're right. So first of all, I do love to, and I do usually have a lovely sort of high level, big picture perspective. And then also I have this amazing toolkit, incredible frameworks that I've developed and learned about over so many years that give me different lenses through which I can look at the challenge, and through which I can give other people or my clients different perspectives, so that they can see things differently, not just the problem, but potential solutions, which is amazing.
And these are your own tools that are completely independent. So it's not something else that, because some people have large organizations that are with one particular software that they've had for 10 years, and they may not have refreshed it and various things. So you're not using their software or equipment, you're using it yourself independently.
Absolutely, Stuart. So, I mean, there are a number of different responses to that. Some people have been working with the same consultants for years, and they use the same tools over and over. So I have a mixture of very highly regarded, recognized tools that, you know, all of us are familiar with, going right back to Eric Berne's transactional analysis model, which comes from the 1950s and is still so useful today. You know, models from people like Patrick Lencioni and Peter Senge. And then I have some of my own that I've developed as well, which are incredibly useful and obviously bring perspectives that nobody has really seen before, because they're not out in the public domain.
Oh, well, that's quite unique when you develop your own products as well. Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. And so, as an example, I mean, you don't want to name any names, but any sort of examples of companies that you would work with?
Absolutely. So again, very wide range. I have one stunning little client at the moment. They are a small IT company. There are only 15 people in the team. And I've been working with them now for several years, and we've done everything from coaching every individual member of the team to redesigning their business processes and systems so that they can scale the business, to helping their leaders to actually grow into leadership, because they all had a technical background and didn't understand what leadership was. Another client that I particularly love working with is a financial services company. Their staff is sitting around about 600 people at the moment. And the best thing about this organization is they will come to me and say, this is our problem. Please help us figure out how to solve it. And so they allow me to bring my knowledge from all sorts of different areas to bear on their challenge. They allow me to be very creative and innovative. And to weave the solution into the fabric of their organization. They also give me access to the system when I need it. So it's not just this tiny little piece, and now you must try and fix this little piece, but actually it's being impacted by all of these other parts of the system that have bearing, but are not directly in the line of sight.
And can you access their systems remotely, so you don't actually have to physically go there?
So Stuart, when I talk about system, I'm actually talking about the people systems. particularly. And yes, the wonderful thing is that our organizations in South Africa have actually adapted very quickly to the need to work remotely. We had a very, very tight lockdown, for example, in COVID, and extremely tight and for long duration. So we had to switch very rapidly. And I'm talking to clients all over the country via Zoom, which is wonderful.
And do you go international as well?
Stuart, the furthest I've been practically and tangibly to this date is up into Zimbabwe, which was wonderful. But I am increasingly starting to connect with people across the globe, and that is a very specific part of my business plans and strategies for the next couple of years. We've got some fabulous solutions. We're busy developing an astute leader program at the moment that is focused on 21st century leadership skills and competencies, and we're taking it global.
Yeah.
It is relevant in every part of the world. And the wonderful thing, maybe I can just put an advert in for Africa and South Africa. You know, our systems in Africa are not nearly as sophisticated or ordered, which means that we actually are ahead of the curve in terms of our agility and our ability to respond innovatively to challenges. And I really do believe that Africa has something to teach the rest of the world. And we're looking forward to making that happen.
It's fantastic. And I think that people are starting to realize the need to invest in themselves and their organization. Some people just like to send people on a training course, but it's not quite the same as starting with you, the leader of your organization, and then the team coming along with you. But the other thing is that smaller businesses might be horrified at the costs involved, which brings me on to the cost. They may think, well, I'll just go into the bookshop and I'll buy a book on whatever it needs that they think will plug that gap.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I believe you have a special offer that you can offer the viewers today.
Absolutely, Stuart. So one of the things, exactly as you're saying, because of the variety of businesses with which I deal and individuals as well, I have rates that are based on the means of my clients. It is absolutely imperative. Not everybody can afford top flight, consulting rates. So I do stagger my rates depending on the need. So always happy to talk to people about what their budget looks like. And yes, in terms of an offer for anybody listening to this this interview, I am absolutely happy to offer a 20% discount on any individual coaching rates and on the Astute Leader program. And our bookings for the program are expected to open by the beginning of December. So you're going to be posting my contact details.
I'll post your contact details in the notes below this video, and I'll put your information in there about what you do, and I'll put the discount. I'll mention that in the video as well. But just to finish, we've got to wrap up now. But just to finish off, have you got a tip for success?
So, Stuart, some of the people watching this might know that we've done this interview before, and the last time I picked Winston Churchill. Never, never, never give up. This time I'm actually going to choose a different one, and that is unmute. And it's a phrase that we've come to all use as we're looking at each other on our Zoom screens and going, unmute, unmute. But I actually wrote a blog post over a year ago, long before COVID, on the subject of women, particularly unmuting, finding their voice, speaking up and becoming visible. And if we've got a moment, I'm going to tell a very quick story. Over a year ago, I had a marketing consultant tell me, Janet, you've got to get visible. And I was going, it feels so aggrandizing and all of those kind of things. She said, you've got to get visible. And 3 days ago, I have in the meantime become a bit more visible. And 3 days ago, I got a message on LinkedIn from somebody who is, I don't know personally, I've never met professionally, but he has been involved in some of the circles I've been involved in. He follows me on LinkedIn, etc. He wrote me a message this long on my screen on LinkedIn, thanking me for my influence, thanking me for the value that I'm putting out into the world, thanking me for the fact that I'm so concerned about seeing positive change in our world. And it blew me away, not so much because, and I was obviously very gratified by the message. But what was most important for me was that he was saying to me, you have become visible, and that has helped me.
Yeah.
I haven't even been aware of having any impact on him. So my message to everybody, unmute.
Unmute.
Become
unmute.
visible,
I
become audible.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. And it's so important indeed, because you never know who's looking at your videos or who's looking at your posts, and you just never know. And if you can help somebody, then it's a blessing.
Absolutely.
That is fantastic. We're going to have to wrap up at the moment, and I'm loving you having come on Coffee with Stuart. And that is Janet Dupree on Coffee with Stuart. And I thank you once again. I will put this out, and we will see you next time.